Today, we're going to peel back the curtain on something really fascinating, a story of collaboration that honestly powers the entire pharmaceutical world. We're talking about the hidden architects building the digital foundations of modern medicine. They're called the Pistoia Alliance. So let's start with a question that, on the surface, just doesn't make any sense. We're talking about one of the most competitive industries on Earth, right? Patents are guarded like state secrets, billions of dollars are at stake. So why on earth would the biggest rivals, companies literally racing against each other, ever decide to sit down and work together? Well, the answer is this really interesting paradox at the heart of drug development. Think about it. Things like incompatible data formats or clunky digital standards, these problems don't help anybody win. They're just sand in the gears for the entire industry. No single company can fix them alone. And you know what? There's zero competitive advantage in even trying. And that leads us to this really crucial idea, the pre-competitive space. It's like a neutral territory where rivals agree to be collaborators for a bit. The whole idea is, hey, let's work together to build the shared roads, the common plumbing, the universal rule books. Because if they solve all that foundational stuff as a team, then each company is free to compete where it actually matters, on the science, on the medicine itself. So who actually organizes all this? Who builds this neutral ground for everyone to play on? Well, that's where our story takes us, to a small town in Italy. Yeah, the origin story is pretty cool. Back in 2007, people from three gigantic competitors, we're talking AstraZeneca, GSK, and Novartis, all met in Pistoia, Italy. And they basically realized they were all burning time and money trying to solve the exact same data problems. So 2 years later, they made it official and founded the Pistoia Alliance as a nonprofit. And wow, did that idea take off? Today, the Alliance has over 200 member companies. And get this, that number includes 18 of the top 20 pharma companies in the entire world. It just goes to show you how deeply everyone was feeling these shared problems. This quote right here, this is the heart and soul of the Pistoia Alliance. It's their whole philosophy in a nutshell. It's not about getting rid of competition. It's about making competition better. By teaming up on the boring infrastructure stuff, they free up all those brilliant minds to focus on what really matters, creating life-saving drugs. Okay, so what does the Alliance actually do? What are they building in this pre-competitive space? Well, you can think of it as creating the industry's shared digital toolkit. Their work really zeroes in on a few critical areas. It's all about that foundational data and tech that modern research and development depends on. They're focused on making data understandable for everyone with things like fair principles and ontologies, and they're also building the guardrails for powerful new tools like AI. So let's break that down. First up is FAIR data. It's an acronym, and it stands for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Just imagine trying to do research when every lab and every company around the world stores data in its own unique, bizarre format. It would be total chaos. The Alliance works to create a common filing system so a scientist can actually find and use data from experiments done years ago, maybe even halfway across the world. Okay, principle number 2 is ontologies. Now that sounds super complicated, I know, but the analogy is perfect. It's a universal dictionary. The Alliance helps everyone agree that when one scientist writes compound X, every computer system knows exactly what compound X is. This is incredibly important for things like getting drugs approved, making sure regulators and companies are speaking the same digital language. And the third piece is all about creating a shared rulebook. You know, as amazing new technologies like large language models pop up, every single company is asking the same questions. How do we use this responsibly? How do we make sure it's trustworthy? Instead of having 200 companies invent 200 different sets of rules, the Pistoia Alliance gives them a place to build one solid set of best practices for everybody. And this brings us to what is maybe the most important job the Alliance has today: helping the entire industry navigate the biggest technological shift of our lifetime. So look, everybody in pharma sees the incredible potential of artificial intelligence. That's a given. But here's the reality check. According to the source material, a whopping 70% of experts in the life sciences are struggling to actually implement AI at scale. There is this huge gap between knowing what's possible and actually doing it. And that, right there, is exactly the kind of shared problem the Alliance was created to solve. So you have to ask, who builds the guardrails for AI in medicine? Who's the neutral referee?
The Pistoia Alliance steps right into that role. It's the forum where the entire industry can get together to agree on guidelines to tackle those really tough issues of trust and safety, and to make sure this incredibly powerful technology is used the right way. This idea really captures it perfectly. They are becoming the de facto home for data science best practices and AI governance in R&D. It's the one place the industry can turn to figure out how to do all this right. And that's a huge responsibility. So, to bring it all home, if you picture the pharma industry as a city full of brilliant labs and scientists, the Pistoia Alliance is the group building all the critical infrastructure that connects them. They're building the digital roads everyone drives on, the data plumbing everyone uses, and the rulebooks everyone follows. They are, in a very real sense, the invisible architects.
And that leaves us with one final big thought. As artificial intelligence gets ready to completely change how we discover and develop medicines, it begs a critical question. Who are we trusting to build the very foundations it all has to stand on? Well, now you know.